Welcome to the Elevating La Cultura podcast, a space where I talk with Latinas who are passionate about what they do and are willing to share that passion with others to change the narrative, especially for the next generation. Each season is centered around different topics, but all with the Latina perspective. Welcome as we continue with season 12 with a focus on women's health. It's going to be a great season, so let's get into it. Jelitsa is an RN and the founder of Uviña Holistic Wellness, a Chicago-based boutique rooted in gut health, lymphatic care, and holistic beauty. As a registered nurse specializing in internal balance and skin health, Jelitsa helps clients reconnect with their bodies through her signature Uviña Flow Framework, a serene, science-informed approach that supports gut function, detoxification, and lymphatic flow for radiant whole-body wellness. Her philosophy is simple yet powerful. When the gut flows, the skin glows. Please enjoy our conversation. Hey, I'm excited for this episode. I am speaking with Jelitsa today, and I am excited because we connected recently, like in person and on a more personal level. Like we've known each other. But I'm so grateful that I was able to meet your family to take photos for you, and just the warmth of your family was just very inspiring and touching and encouraging to me. And so I'm just so grateful for that opportunity to capture your family through photographs. And it was a beautiful day. And so I'm so excited that you said yes to being on the podcast this season. And I'm excited to get more into what you're doing, especially for the community. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. First off, thank you for saying that about my family. It's a small one. It's just my husband, my daughter, and I, but we're really, really close. And you did an amazing job. We were all able to be ourselves because you were just so calming and so welcoming. So thank you for that. We love our photos. It was amazing. But yeah, thank you so much for having me. When you asked, I mean, what an opportunity. Definitely not something that I would turn down. I'm really, really excited to be here with you. So who am I? So as you said, I'm Jelitsa. I am a nurse. I have been nursing for, oh gosh, going on almost 20 years. I spent the majority of my clinical practice in post-surgical care, so caring for patients after surgery. There were some years there where it was cosmetics, and then the bulk of my clinical care was in post-transplant surgical care. So was doing that for quite some time. And then I took the leap of faith and decided to start a business. And so I originally started with skincare. I designed what I couldn't find. I was looking for multi-purpose effective formulas that had clean botanical ingredients. And I wanted the texture to be a certain way, and I didn't want them to be scented. And the list was getting very, very long. And as one says, when you can't find it, you make it. And so I hired a chemist and we developed formulas that I absolutely fell in love with. I sent them out to like my pickiest family and friends to see what they thought, and they did not hold back. And so the result are 3 products that are the Uviña skincare bundle, which the intent behind those was to create a line that was very minimalistic, because you really don't need to do much to have healthy skin, very nourishing, and very simple. One of the things that I bring into my business is my experience with nursing. If you want a patient or a client or a customer in this sense to be compliant, if you want them to be able to implement what you're suggesting into their life, it has to be simple. It has to be easy. And that's just the reality of it. And so I used that principle when I was developing the skincare line. So I had that for 5 years, which it's going to be 5 years next week, which is wild. And this year, I brought the business into a direction that I honestly could not have predicted myself. But I opened a wellness boutique where now, instead of focusing on just skincare, we look at whole body wellness, with an emphasis on your lymphatic system, which is your body's drainage and detoxification pathway, as well as gut health, because they're all connected. I know it kind of seems a little convoluted. How did I get there? But I started to think about it because when I would meet customers or when I was presenting my skincare line at various markets or at various events, I would get questions from people that would say, or they would ask, oh, my skin, can you take a look here? Will this help with this condition or this concern? And oftentimes I would reply with, that's an internal issue. Do you have inflammation? Is this a food that may be causing this? Their skin would be dull. And my response, which would always catch people by surprise, and I don't think that this is what they expect or what's pretty common, is they would say, oh, I want my skin to glow. I want, it to shine. I want it, have some radiance. And my question would be, have you optimized your detox pathways? Which they're like, I want a cream. I want a serum. I have no idea what you're talking about. And so as I started to understand that a lot of what we're concerned with is actually internal, I then started to emphasize more on that. And again, another crazy leap of faith. I opened up the wellness boutique, which is called Uviña Holistic Wellness. Opens up the wellness boutique in the Lakeview neighborhood here in Chicago in February of this year, and it's been an amazing ride.
Hearing the stories that you're saying and understanding where we are in society in 2025, it is so common for people to think that it is such an easy fix.
I know it would be
And
amazing. It would be amazing if it was an easy fix.
yes, because it's usually like, oh, well, so and so said that they use this, this, and this, and they look amazing, and that's how I want to look. And it's like, you don't understand that all of what's going on in your body affects everything. Like,
Everything.
yeah, whether, and I think now as I'm entering my, well, I'm on my last year of my 30s, so I will be entering my 40s.
Come
Um,
on in. It's nice over here.
yeah, I'm low key like, okay, I could do
Oh, I
this.
love it. It's been amazing. So you're gonna have a great time.
Okay. Um, but I'm realizing that I have to be more intentional about what I'm putting into my body because my metabolism isn't the same. My aches and pains aren't the same as they were 10 years ago. And when I'm looking for answers, it's like the things that I'm seeing is like, how's your gut health? Like, how are you,
100%.
how's your eating habits and like exercise and are you moving? And those are things that we didn't have to think about when we were younger in our teens or even 20s or early 30s. And yeah, I think that there is just a lot more intentionality that needs to go into understanding your body holistically. So I love that. Like you started with one thing and now you're just like, okay, I see the need to educate and provide something that is more holistic. So I'd love
Definitely.
to learn about the journey that brought you to where you are today. Like, I'm like, let's go back. Like, what got
Sure.
you into the medical field in the first place? And how did that journey shift and why? And like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, there was a point in my so nursing was not my first major. Switched a few times. I love to write, so I thought I would be a journalist major or a journalism major. And unfortunately, that didn't work out for me. And then I just kind of leaned into what was very practical. I didn't have the opportunity to romanticize what my career was going to be. And I say that in the sense of I grew up with a single mom and we were very poor growing up. So education and what I was going to choose had to be practical for me. It had to be a way for me to move forward, right? And so I looked up what was um, very reasonable, what could get me into a really good degree and a good pay within a certain period of time that aligned with me. And so I had a short list of science fact or science-based majors. I've always done naturally well in the sciences. And so I landed in nursing after talking to several people and guidance counselors, etc. And it's been honestly the best decision I have ever made. To understand the human body is to almost believe in magic. Like what it can do and what it's designed to do and the systems that are in place and everything that is happening within like a microsecond is amazing. It is amazing. It's to be in complete awe. And because of that, the education was very exciting and something I really celebrated. It was quite simple for me to move forward with. And I always put myself in positions where I was going to be challenged. I graduated from nursing school and immediately went to a trauma one center in Florida, which is where I went to nursing school. And so, as I said, a lot of my experience was post-surgical, there and after. And it was really just about an emphasis and an understanding of how the body heals itself and what happens in that process. And yeah, it's been an incredible learning journey. You're never going to have the same day twice. You're never going to have the same, type of patient twice. And so being able to look at people from an individual standpoint and say, okay, what's going on with you? Tell me about your life. And being able to look at the picture, right? Because to send a patient home with a medication, but not knowing like, how do you live? Talk to me about how you live. Talk to me about how you eat. What is your day like? What's going on? How is this going to realistically fit? Right. And it really just set the foundation for me to start taking a look at people from the entire perspective of who they are. And only an understanding that are you going to be able to help, right? You have a lot of patients or clients now who come in and they're like, oh, I had this complaint and I got this prescription, but I don't feel better. And it's like, well, yeah, because there's a lot more involved. And there's a lot more that needs to be done. And it's all going to start in this one place, right? Which 99% of the time is going to be your gut. So yeah, I mean, I don't remember your question. I think I started rambling, just looking back at my entire nursing experience. But yeah, it really was just setting the foundation of taking a look at the whole person. I remember one of my nursing school professors made a joke once, and she's like, now you're going to find yourself anywhere, like in line at the grocery store or at the library, and you're going to see someone walk by, or you're going to be next to someone, and you're going to be like, oh, this part of their body is swollen. They have edema. I wonder if this is what's going on. I wonder if they had this. Like, you're just going to start putting together pieces like the moment you come across, a person or, ideally just your patient. But it's the truth, and I think I started to realize that when people would come to me and ask me like, hey, I have this issue. Can you help me with that? Did it all start to come together from an aesthetic standpoint, right? Because I was there to talk about your skin health. But the truth is your skin health is just a reflection of what's happening internally. Absolutely a reflection of that. And by the time it's on your skin, it's been brewing for a bit. It's not that it just started and you're now seeing it. It's been quietly happening in the background. And now that I have undergone advanced training in lymphatic therapy, as well as functional wellness, where I now can order and review and interpret various holistic labs, which are types of labs that your conventional doctor may not be able to order just based on restrictions and a whole bunch of other things. But as I've gotten more knowledgeable in how to interpret everyday labs as well as specialty labs, I've really begun to understand when the smoke develops, right? And it's something that I commonly say. I'm like, when you look at this picture, I can tell you right now there's smoke, there isn't fire, but there's something brewing here. And usually when we see it on our skin, it's a small fire, right? Doesn't mean there's not time for you to reverse, whatever the concern or condition may be. Sometimes it could just be something as simple as like, don't eat that food anymore. Or it can be a lot larger, like your microbiome is out of balance. And it's just really a matter of like doing, having the conversation in depth and being able to understand what's really going on and getting you on the path there. But one of the things I reiterate and I reinforce, because it's so important, because we live in a culture that is like, I want immediate gratification. I want something now. I want this vitamin C serum to fix me today, which would be amazing. That we all want that. But it's just not how it works. And especially when you're going to address something from a holistic standpoint, I mean, we're looking at about 6 months. And so I think if you can accept and grasp and internalize that time frame, then you're already, on your way to success. But that's usually the biggest barrier.
Ooh, 6 months. It
I
sounds.
know, I know, I know, I know. I mean, there are definitely some quick wins, as I call them, quick wins that you can get, where you'll start feeling better in about 2 weeks. Um, but in terms of completely fixing what the issue may be, and of course, dependent on what that is, it can be around 3 to 6 months before you start to see some true change and consistency, right? You need to be consistent.
Yeah. So how did you go from like your nursing background and field to then designing your own products and
Yeah.
like even just finding a chemist or like working
Yeah.
with a chemist, like that just seems so intense.
Yeah.
And then like how long was that process from like when you started developing your ideas and like testing to then having like the products ready for people to use?
Um, I think I decided to develop this business in a moment of insanity. Because I could, but it was a lot. It was a lot. And I think one of the things that really helped me move the business forward into having the skincare line is just not knowing. Had I known, it was such an emotional roller coaster. And the truth of the matter is I didn't know what I didn't know. And so it was a lot of discovery of, concepts in language, right? Like I'm in a completely new industry with its own language. And so there were a lot of ups and downs. When I started Uviña Skin, which was my original business name and I will keep just for the skincare line, it, I mean, I think I felt every emotion available to humankind in like a span of like 4 hours, right? Like you would get news and it'd be amazing. And then you'd get other news that would make me cry. And then you're questioning everything. And then you're celebrating something. And it's just like, it was a lot. But yeah, as I mentioned, I couldn't find what I wanted. And I decided that I was going to make my own, right? But I thought I was going to do more DIY, like, oh, I'll just do something at home, and kind of just figure it out in that sense. And I did start that way. I did try to do that here at home in my kitchen. I just didn't love it. I didn't love the feels. I didn't love the textures. I found that was very important to me in my self-care routine. Because whether you decide that your self-care routine is going to be, 5 minutes or an hour, it's got to feel good, right? And so when I was developing my own products in the kitchen, it didn't feel good to apply them. Um, and so I then decided that I was going to hire a chemist, which you're right, it's not very easy to do. And originally I started to just kind of search on the internet, and I was very unsuccessful, but it clicked for me one day. So in the field of like sciences and medicine, it is expected for anyone who is specialized to become a member of their professional association. So like, for example, if you are a pediatric nurse, then it is expected that you are a member of the American Society of Pediatric Nurses, right? And that goes for doctors, and that goes for, you know, practitioners and scientists of all kinds. So I was like, wait a minute, there has to be an American Association of Cosmetic Scientists. And I did a Google search, and there absolutely was. And thankfully for me, when I went onto the website, they just had their annual conference, and they had a page listing everyone who came and everyone who renewed their membership. And so I used that list to start emailing. And I ended up finding a small independent chemist in one of the Carolinas. I think it was South Carolina. And we began developing the formulas. And it took a long time. There was a lot involved. There was a lot of like respectfully, like just bumping of heads and trying to get my ideas across. But he's like, but I'm the expert. And I'm like, I know, but this is what I want. And it worked out beautifully. And I think it was really a learning experience for me, right? Because there was a moment where he needed to say to me, Jelitsa, that's a decision that is made on the lab bench. We can't determine that right now. Just trust me on this, which I did. And I'm so thankful. But yeah, it took a long time to even get a formula that I and everybody that was testing it for me liked. And then you got to undergo stability testing. And then you have to undergo testing to make sure that your preservative works, right? So that, it doesn't go bad, which takes months. So all in all, it was like a 2-year process. And I had no clue. I was learning it all along the way. But we got there. And then it was launch time and COVID happened. Obviously, none of us could have predicted that. And I was working on the formulas way before, and they were ready in 2020. And I was so done, that I told my husband, I was like, I don't care. I do not care. We're done. We're launching. We're going forward. I don't care if it's COVID. It is what it is. It is what it is. And we're going to just do it. And thankfully, it ended up working out really well. I think there were definitely some pros because there was a big push during that time to support small business and Latina and Latino-owned businesses, as well as, women-owned businesses. So that worked well for me and in my favor. But then, one of the negatives is every business went digital. And I was only an e-commerce based business. So now ads were going to be, at least for someone starting off like myself, just not something that I was going to be able to afford, or fighting for keywords. It was tough in that sense in terms of just like organic digital marketing, or even paid marketing. But I made it work. It was definitely a wild ride. And I think one of the things that made it difficult is starting a business is a lot more, actually, I'm going to say 90% of starting a business, at least for me, was more psychological and spiritual. Everything else is a checklist. But what it took for me to become fully grounded and confident, I don't think I became confident as a business owner until like recently, which is wild to say. But you're always second guessing what needs to be done. Everybody's doing this. Do I need to do it? There were times that I would do things or post things that I wasn't 100% comfortable with, but that's what everybody else is doing. And that's what's expected of us as business owners, or, things along those lines. And just recently that I become more confident in my decisions and trusting my gut. And I think it was maybe around year three going on 4, that I was just like, you know what? I'm going to stop telling the universe what is going to happen, right? Like I'm gonna start going with the flow, which I don't usually do that, to a fault at times. And so I decided that I was going to go with the flow, and I was just going to let the universe tell me what's what and who's who and what's going to happen. And I did that in 2024. I did that. I finally quit my job. I said it's time to take a leap of faith. And like when I told my boss, It was interesting because I had the best boss I had ever had at the time. Loved working for him, really liked the company I was at. Like if it wasn't because I owned a business, I would still be there. And my boss was talking promotion with me. And it hurt my heart because I'm like, I'm leaving. Like in my head, I'm like, I have to do this. And it was really difficult, right? Because as I said, I, was really practical with my career path, and everything was very much like, okay, I want to do X because X will get me Y, things like that. And so I had carved out this path that gave me a really phenomenal, living. And I was going to say goodbye to it. And I was very honest with my boss when I scheduled the meeting, and he's like, I hope this isn't what what I think it is. And I told him, I was like, I explained what was happening. But I said, if I am on my deathbed, which I know is a very dramatic way to think about things, but that's just, I do. And I think it's just because of my experience. I've been very fortunate and lucky to be in a lot of very vulnerable situations for other families because of my experience in nursing, that I don't take those moments lightly. I've been there at the end of someone's time here, and all of the beauty and all of the ugly that comes with it, right? So I do kind of make decisions with a lot of that thinking. And then losing, my mom also forged some of that as well. But I did tell my boss, if I'm on my deathbed, this would be something that I would regret. Like, I wonder what would have happened if, and it's true. And so I walked away in 2024 and decided that I was just going to go with the flow. I was going to allow myself to be in this washing machine of being a small business owner and just kind of let it tell me what was going to happen. And I came across lymphatics. Never considered it. Never really, knowing that the system was there, of course, but I don't think until recently was the lymphatic system being given its proper due and its moment in the sun. Are we now fully talking about its importance in our body? But I came across lymphatics and I was like, I'm going to go get certified in it. Let me just go see what it's about. And it was a week-long course, 5 days, full days. And I'm there with other healthcare professionals. And once it was done on me, the immediate feeling in my body, I was convinced. And I was like, okay, I need to offer this. I'm going to open up a space and I'm going to offer this because it's transformational. And started looking for a space, and here we are. And now it's been 9 months that I've had the wellness boutique, and it's been absolutely amazing.
It's amazing to hear the journey and how things really shifted once you decided to take that leap of faith. And it is scary to leave something that is stable and secure and that you like. So I give you props for doing that and just following your gut, your heart, your passion, your vision. When you were talking about how you didn't know exactly how you were going to do things, like it's sometimes that unknown that keeps us going, because if we know like how hard it's going to be, like we wouldn't do it. We'd be like, oh no, let me just wait a little more till I'm more ready, more secure. But it really is that leap of faith and saying like, okay, well, step one, I don't know what I'm doing, so let me just figure it out. And then before you know it, you're in the thick of it. I'd love to hear more about the lymphatic
Yeah.
practice and
Yeah.
like what that all entails, because like you said, like it's not really talked about much and we don't know a lot about it. And even I don't really know the benefits of what you do.
For sure. So, yeah, the lymphatic system it's basically, a lot of people will dub it the river of health. right? And so it gets a lot of love right now because of fluid balance, right? Because everyone's like, oh, I feel puffy and I feel bloated, and the lymphatic system is going to help me feel, less puffy, less bloated, which it will do that. That is one of its jobs. It is helping your body maintain fluid balance. But its main job, and the part that I love the most, is it's your detox highway. So the best way to describe it is you have a system of tubes in your body. That's part of your circulatory system, right? That's your heart, that has the pump, that's your blood in your arteries, your veins, right? It's moving throughout your body to deliver oxygen and nutrients and everything else that your body needs. But just like when you're cooking, right? You're getting everything that you need for your meal. You're going to cut some things that you don't need, and you're going to have waste. You're going to have garbage. Your circulatory system creates metabolic waste. I need this element, but I don't need this element. I need this micronutrient, but after we've, had our chemical reaction, I don't need these pieces, and it throws it away. Your lymphatic system is your garbage collector. So it runs alongside and it collects all of that garbage. It collects all of the waste. So that's why it's your detox highway. It's your detox path. However, two issues with the lymphatic system. One is it doesn't have a pump, right? Like your heart is your pump. It creates the pressure that is needed to move the blood through your body. The lymphatic system does not have that. It's passive. So if you do not optimize your lymphatic system, it's stagnant. It's just sitting there. And it's just sitting there with all of the garbage that it's collected. So there are various ways to move it back towards circulation, back towards your heart, which is why a proper lymphatic massage is very methodical. It happens in certain pieces and it happens in a particular direction. Because what the lymphatic system is designed to do is to bring all of that waste back into circulation so that it can go to your kidney and your liver, because those are your true detox organs. That's why we urinate and that's why we defecate all of the garbage out of our bodies. So the lymphatic system, it's your garbage collector, right? So that's why when it's not moving, your skin is dull, you may have brain fog, you just don't feel well, you don't feel right, you feel heavy, you feel bloated, right? All of that works together. So by moving that back and make sure that it's flowing as it should, it's really optimizing getting your metabolic waste out of your body and getting your detox pathways nice and open. So that's my personal, that's the most important job. That's my personal favorite role of the lymphatic system. I mean, of course, yes, the fluid and the aesthetic component, 10 out of 10, but my big win for the lymphatic system is the fact that it's your detox highway. But also, it's where your white blood cells, which are your immunity cells, that's where they travel. So by optimizing your lymphatic system, you're also optimizing your immune system, because if it's clogged and it's sluggish, they have nowhere to go. They're not able to properly defend your body in a systemic way. So those are the three really big functions: detox pathway, strengthening your immunity, and then fluid balance. But it's absolutely incredible. And it's very closely linked, one, to the skin, right? And that's why I will have clients that will have just one lymphatic massage of their face and their skin's brighter. They look years younger. And it's simply because we moved everything back into, circulation. It's also closely connected to your gut. I mean, everything is. There's a gut skin connection. There is a gut brain connection. And the lymph, as I said, going back to the liver, it's part of your, digestive tract. And so all of that really works together to make us feel amazing and look amazing, or, make us feel sluggish and less than optimal. But yeah, it's I love it. I love it so much. It's, something I seek myself. I dry brush, when I can. I try to make it a part of my routine. I also incorporated red light, into some of my lymphatic massages, which is incredible. I mean, the studies behind it are absolutely mind blowing. And I have a lot of clients as well who ask, like, oh, is this a gimmick? Is this science backed? And it is very science backed. I know it's a buzzword now, but it's been around for a really, really long time. There are some pieces of literature that say it started with the Greeks and the Romans. But the way that I describe it is when you're feeling a little down, and you go for a walk in the sun, you feel better. The sun is light therapy. So red light therapy is basically, giving you the same effect. We can go into the science of it, which I'll spare you, but it's like different wavelengths go into different parts of your body and have different benefits. But it's a light therapy. And I'm a huge, huge believer in that. And that's something that I also offer in addition, either simultaneous as your massage or like in addition, to other treatments as well. But yeah, it's unbelievable. It's something that I've found that I've gotten a really great response, from clients. And yeah, it's incredible to build this community of, women and men coming in and feeling the benefits and coming in more consistently. But yeah, absolutely amazing.
I am fascinated by all of this. And
I'm
even
telling
like,
you, the body is amazing.
yeah, when I was in school, I really was fascinated with science. Like, I loved all my science classes. And like hearing you talk and hearing whenever I hear people talk about the amazingness that is your body, and even just like science in general, like even going doing science with my kids who are homeschooled, like we love learning about all of this stuff. And so it's just fascinating to me even hearing you talk about it, and gets me excited about being more intentional about my body holistically. But if someone is just like looking to like start working with you, or like start improving their life and lifestyle and wanting to check out some of your services, what would you suggest, like starting out as like a starter package, or like, and like how long should people be committed to working with you?
Yeah. So it's going to depend. So let me actually backtrack a little bit. So if you are going to begin with me, my recommendation would be to begin with what I call the signature therapeutic lymphatic massage. Start with that. See how you feel. The reason I say see how you feel is because if you don't feel great after it, which will usually be the next 24 to 48 hours, because again, with the lymphatic, we're kind of stimulating it and getting it back into flow. As it's flowing, the effects either at 24 to 48 hours, if it was truly stagnant, you're not going to feel great. You may have a headache, your belly, because there's some belly work involved with lymphatic massage. Your belly may not feel well. Your poop may look different. Your urine may look a little different. And that is a surefire way to know that your body really needed this. But when it's starting to get all of those, all of that metabolic waste flowing, you feel it, and you don't feel great. If that happens, then you should probably seek a lymphatic massage around every 2 weeks until you don't feel that way after it anymore. If you have a lymphatic massage and you don't have those effects, then a monthly cadence would be just fine for overall wellness. I like to ease people in. I don't think it's helpful. And again, it's got to be simple, right? We have to make slow habits. I think there was a neuroscientist that I listened to that says if you try to implement more than 2 habits at a time, you're destined to fail. So I keep that in mind. And it's like, let's get you in here for lymphatics first. Okay, now you're here. Maybe we start adding some red light. Adding the red light during the lymphatic, amazing. And then we can start talking about changes that you can make, right? And like I said, there are a lot of quick wins that don't require you getting on medication or a supplement that can help you start feeling better in a couple of weeks. And, they're going to be food related and practice related and sleep and water and things like that. And then we can slowly move on to the next phase, right? And that's currently what I'm in the process of building right now. So while I have it all written down and I can help a client, navigate those steps, I'm currently working to make it standardized and in the form of a standard program. And I've developed this framework, which I'm calling the Uviña Flow Framework. And it's where we address lymphatics and detoxification first, your gut health second, and then how that affects your external radiance at the end. And so there are 3 Ds. I call them the 3 Ds, and I call them the 3 Rs that work together in a process. And the reason it needs to be in a standard process is because, as I said, if you're not feeling great after a lymphatic massage, that means your detox pathways are not optimized. We need to optimize those first. We need to make sure that your body can eliminate waste effectively before we do anything else with your gut, right? Because if I go in and I start working on an imbalance in your gut, but you can't eliminate waste well, you're going to feel awful. You're going to feel awful. It's just all going to be circulating with nowhere to go. So there has to be a system in place. And so we first will focus in this new program on the 3 Ds, which are drainage, detoxification, and digestion. Because I tell all of my clients, if you're not pooping every day, you're not getting waste out of your body. You're not detoxifying. So we first need to make sure, again, we're optimizing your drainage. We are optimizing your detoxification pathways, which there are multiple ways to do that. Lymphatic massage is a wonderful hands-on holistic way, but there are also supplements that can help. And then your digestion. Once we get to the digestion portion, we can now switch and see what's going on in your gut. And that's where we get into a whole other slew of concerns like the microbiome, which is another really, it's a popular buzzword, but that's just a way to describe the ecosystem of bugs that lives in our body. They're important, they're helpful, and what makes them helpful or harmful is just sheer number of them. You need to have the right balance. If you have too many, then your microbiome is all off and you feel horrible. But when you have an imbalance, that's when you're feeling great. So then we start working on that, start working on getting all of the overgrowth, right? All of the bacteria that we don't need, the bacteria that's just too much, start getting that out of your body, start repairing your gut lining. A lot of people don't know this, but your gut lining is 1 cell thick. I mean, that's like the thinnest of tissue paper you can imagine, right? It's important for it to be 1 cell thick because otherwise it would be too difficult for the nutrients in your gut to enter your bloodstream. But because it's so thin, it's incredibly easy to ruin it. And so we focus on repairing, removing anything that needs to go, and then rebalancing your microbiome. So I'm currently, developing this framework, and I'm hoping by January, February, the latest, I will be able to have this 8-week standard program utilizing the Uviña Flow Framework.
Oh my gosh, I'm fascinated. And I feel like we could talk about this all day because
Yeah, I could.
I'm gonna have you back in the new year once
Okay,
you get this framework so we can dig a little deeper because
for
I'm just
sure.
like, this is all like I'm excited to learn
Yeah,
about this for my own body because it's just like, these are the things that I wish we learned a little bit more in school and it wasn't just like for specialized studies, such as like if you're going into the medical field,
I'm
because
with you.
I'm
Yeah, I
fascinated.
think I think we being like society at large, have done a really big disservice, at least in Western, culture and Western medicine, where our fixes come from pills and not food. And I think that we also are a culture of convenience. And I was actually having this conversation with my daughter just last night, where if our body has a response, instead of listening to it, we just want to take a pill to make that response go away, make that discomfort go away. Where in actuality, if your body has a reaction to something, listen to it. It's telling you what it needs. Your body will always tell you what it needs. Don't take a pill to make yourself feel better and then just say in your head, oh, I know this makes me feel ill. So whenever I do X, I will then take this pill to make myself feel better. No, your body doesn't like it. There's something happening. Just remove it, right? So I've tried to teach my daughter this. I was like, if you stop to listen, your body will let you know what it needs. But we've gotten very used to just thinking there's a quick fix, or, oh, this is what this pill is for, is to make me feel this way. But in reality, your body's designed to heal itself, optimize itself. And it's just our standard way of living and our modern way of practice that are making us more ill. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, I wish we could chat all day. But before you leave, I want to be honor your time, and I'm just so grateful for everything that you've shared already. But I always ask people, what is one piece of advice that you would give the next generation?
For me, I'm raising the next generation, one small person in that next generation. And the biggest thing that I enforce with my daughter is to trust and honor herself. I think when I turned 40, it's almost as if, someone just handed me this big bucket of self-assurance and confidence that I so desperately was looking for in my 20s, and in my 30s. And I want that sooner for her, and I want that sooner for, all young women and young men, of course, as well. But just don't second guess yourself. Honor who you are, be comfortable with who you are, and listen to yourself. Listen to your body, listen to your heart, listen to your mind. When I look back at my experiences, the things that didn't work out, I knew they weren't going to work out. I just did them anyway, right? And so had I listened and had I trusted and had I not, you know, done what I thought needed to be done, I think the story could have been quite different. And I mean, absolutely no regrets. It led me to the life that I have today, and I love it. I'm so happy and blessed. But I think if you can get there sooner, then that would be amazing.
Thank you. And where can people find you?
Yeah. So my social media handle is at Uviña Wellness everywhere on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. YouTube channel coming soon. And my website, uviñawellness.com. So on there, there are some tips on our blog related to everything that we're talking about. That's also where you can buy recommended supplements. I work with a professional grade supplement company that works only with healthcare practitioners, as well as, of course, the baby of it all, my firstborn, the skincare line. And then if you're in Chicago, I have the boutique in the Lakeview area where you can come on in, get some lymphatic focused treatments, and talk about gut health and plans moving forward.
Oh, I love it. I'm gonna have to stop in because I didn't realize you were just
We'll get
like
you in.
up the road.
Yeah, we'll get you in for sure.
Awesome. Thank you so much. This has been an amazing conversation. I'm so glad that we connected recently so that I could get you into this season. I've learned so much in just the short time that we've chatted, and I feel like I want to keep learning more. So yeah, we'll definitely
I
have you
love
back
that.
on. And yeah, I'm excited for your growth, and I hope more people like start being more intentional about learning about their own bodies and just especially as we age, like things change, things shift, and we need to be more intentional about how we take care of ourselves. So
Absolutely.
yes, thank you so much.
You're
And
so welcome. Thank you for having me. I it's always such a like gush, and I feel like I like just like or a rush of emotions as I gush about, everything that's happened. But I don't know. I think like sometimes I do that because I don't always get to just talk about it. And like as I talk about it, I'm reflecting. And sometimes it's just like, oh my gosh, that was a lot. And look at where we are. And so this was a special for me as well. So I want to thank you for having me on and helping me remember, what's important and why. So yeah, this is great.
yeah, and next week we will celebrate with you as you celebrate 5 years.
Yeah, it's wild to think about.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And we will see each other soon.
Wonderful. Talk to you soon.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
What a great conversation. I loved learning more about how to care for our bodies. Thank you so much for listening. There'll be a new episode every Tuesday, so after you listen, feel free to take a screenshot to post on Instagram and tag at Elevating La Cultura, or send me a DM. You can also comment on our YouTube video if you're watching online. I always like to hear from people and how they resonate with the stories that I share. So leave a review on Apple Podcasts so we can get more ears listening to these stories and we can continue elevating La Cultura. All right, enjoy the rest of your day, afternoon, evening, whenever you're listening, y nos vemos next week. Bye.